Are you having a hard time convincing your partner about the issue of cohabiting and its effects? Well, stay tuned to this episode as we will be delving into the phenomenon of cohabiting, what it entails, whether you should or shouldn't go into it, and everything that has to do with it. Hello, Saints. My name is Marianne Ushi, and this is Catholic Faith Forum. Let's go on a short break, and when we get back, the show continues. Do not go anywhere.
Let's say you get married today. You don't do traditional wedding now. We've not done church wedding.
Yeah.
Can you move with your husband?
Can I move with my husband?
Yeah.
On personal note, as a Catholic.
Wait, Difference Day, personal notes day, Catholic day. That's your personal notes.
For me, I think for traditional marriage, I will move in. Yeah.
Look at you.
But as a Catholic, I think it's after the white wedding.
After the white.
Yeah, so. But,
So personally, you cannot wait.
Personally, the reason why I'm moving is I would probably not do the whole moving totally. There's something like a sleepover, stay for 1 week, 2 weeks, kind of something. Yeah, but
I feel you.
Yeah, so
I see what you're saying.
but for me personally, I think after traditional marriage, as long as you know that the white wedding is around the corner. Some people that can decide to treat the church, do their traditional marriage and not actually do the church.
Welcome back, Saints. This is Catholic Faith Forum, and I am Marianne Ushi. Our topic for today is, should people cohabit? So what is cohabiting? Cohabiting is the idea of living together with someone who you're not married to and having sexual relations with that person. So is this the right thing to do, and why do people go into it? These are some of the questions we're going to be answering on today's episode of the show. I also have Bivantesi on standby to tell us about the life of Saint Justin, and the Know Your Faith crew is on standby as well for the faith session. Now it's time to meet my guests. I have two amazing men here with me to discuss the topic cohabiting. My first guest is Mr. Joachim Okoro. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
And I also have Mr. Chinedu Egbuchiem. Did I get this pronunciation? Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So Mr. Chinedu is a young man, a single young man who is passionate about God and humanity. His dedication to positive change and spiritual growth led him to serve as parish president of Sion in St. Andrew's Parish, Ilemba from 2021 to 2023. He's also the founder of City Masters brand, specializing in high-quality popcorn in Ekiti State. I hope that you brought popcorn for me. Because if you didn't, we're going to have issues. All right, so Mr. Joachim is a lawyer. He's also the president of the Catholic Charismatic, he's also the coordinator of the Catholic Charismatic Renewal of Nigeria's St. Dominic's, and he is married with 3 amazing children. Yes, he loves to talk to people, young people especially, and he loves to teach. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's get right into it. What is your understanding of cohabitation? I know I've given a definition, but if you would like to throw more light on it.
Well, basically, cohabitation is a state where people who are not married, who are not legally married, live together and are involved in sexual relationship. It's as simple as that. People who are not married, living together, involved in sexual relationship.
So did you at any point cohabit before marriage?
Well, I did not.
Oh, look at you. Okay, so what factors do you think contribute to people making that decision to cohabit?
Thank you. From my end, while growing up, I actually grew up in a very rural area.
Yeah.
And one of the factors, or few factors I was able to identify was finances. Most cases, people tend to cohabit just to be able to share the finance burden. That's one. 2, convenience. Yes, maybe the other partner might be staying very far. So staying together might bring them together. And at the same time, this brings me to my third point, communication. Communication, distance relationship most times, we tend to give excuses. Distance relationship brings about a lot of issues. So coming together, being together brings this bond. There's this bond that comes from it. So that's this with the three
reasons why people. Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I would say maybe before talking about, what leads to that is to point out that, in the modern time, the trend has increased.
Yes, definitely.
It has increased. And what I consider to be the issue, what we'll hear young people like me or young people say, two things. The first is that people say they want to know themselves.
True.
They want to know themselves. But I think the bigger issue is the fact of a lot of people are afraid of commitment. So the fact that marriages are failing lately, a lot of marriages failing. So a lot of people just don't want to get into that commitment. So they just feel, since there's no legal bond, we are just living together. So when I get tired, you walk away, I walk away. So, and that seemed to be increasing over the time. So I consider these two. First is that people say they want to know themselves more, right? And then the second is the fact that a lot of people no longer want commitment. People want that easy way walking in and walking out. Because the moment you are legally married, there are a lot of protocol to it. Yes. Exactly. So I just don't want all those. If I get tired, I walk away.
So we know all these reasons why people do these things. Well, what does the Catholic Church say about cohabitation?
Well, the church stands on this is very clear. The church frowns at that. The church frowns at that. The church doesn't permit that. You have to be married in the church before you live together. It's actually a sin. Exactly. So that's the stance of the church. It's very clear and unequivocal.
Okay, so let me go somewhere. We hear of, a committed relationship. We hear of, a legal partnership. Should a Christian subscribe to things like this as an excuse for cohabitation?
Mom, thank you. I don't think a Christian should subscribe to this. Committed relationship, it's fine. It's good to be committed. It's good to be dedicated in a relationship. In legal partnership, it's also good. But legal partnership, most cases, might not be related to marriage. But if it's related to marriage, it should not, as a Christian, it should not be encouraged. The church advised we go officially to the altar, show the sacrament of holy matrimony. Yeah,
exactly, because we need to define what the relationship is, and this is done in the sacrament of holy matrimony. So the church basically frowns at sexual relations with unmarried people, between unmarried people. If you're trying to start a family or anything, you have to do it the right way through the sacraments. All right, it's time for us to hear about the life of Saint Justin. So over to you, Tessie.
Our saint of the week is Saint Justin. Saint Justin, also known as Justin Martyr, was an early Christian apologist and one of the most significant early church fathers. He was born around 100 AD in Flavia, Neapolis, modern-day Nablus, West Bank. Raised in a pagan environment, Justin pursued a wide-ranging philosophical education, studying Stoicism, Aristotelianism, Pythagoreanism, and Platonism. He was such a scholar, Oshe. His search for truth ultimately led him to Christianity. Around the age of 30, Justin converted to Christianity after a profound personal revelation. Wow. He saw Christianity as the true philosophy, fulfilling the best insights of pagan thoughts and answering his deepest questions about existence and the divine. Following his conversion, Justin dedicated himself to defending and explaining the Christian faith to both pagans and Jews, employing his philosophical background to articulate and rationalize Christian doctrine. Of course, what do you expect from a scholar? Justin is best known for his extensive writings, particularly the First Apology, the Second Apology, and the Dialogue with Trypho. In these works, he defended Christianity against various accusations and misunderstandings, provided a reasoned case for the moral and intellectual superiority of Christianity, and sought to demonstrate that Jesus Christ was the fulfillment of Hebrew prophecies. His writings offer valuable insights into Christian theology, liturgical practices, and the relationship between Christianity and the Greco-Roman culture. Justin's unwavering commitment to his faith ultimately led to his martyrdom. During the reign of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, around 165 AD, Justin and several of his students were arrested for their Christian belief. Wow. Refusing to renounce his faith, Justin was scourged. Refusing to renounce his faith, Justin was scourged and beheaded. Kai or more, earning the title of martyr and becoming one of the most revered figures in early Christianity. Of course, Saint Justin Martyr's Feast Day is celebrated on June 1st in the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. He is venerated as the patron saint of philosophers and apologists. His life and works continues to be a source of inspiration and instruction for those seeking to understand and defend the Christian faith. Saint Justin, pray for us.
Thank you very much, Tessie, for that enlightening story on the life of Saint Justin. I hope that we learned something from that. All right, so back to our conversation. We've established that the Catholic Church frowns at cohabitation, but we cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of people who still engage in such. Now, how do you think that cohabitation influences the dynamics of a relationship, talking about communication, conflict resolution, and long-term commitments? What effect does cohabitation have on these things for those in relationships?
You know, interestingly, when we talk about cohabitation, or what you had called a legal partnership or committed relationship, the devil is always in the details. I mean, it's always good to define what exactly you are doing. You can call it whatever name, you have to define. But if you are talking about it from the Christian context, as already established, wrong. Now, coming back to the effect it has or the impact on relationship, you know, what people haven't really, I was actually surprised to know. I've taken time, this is something I've studied over time to discover that there are actually researches showing that most failed marriage, there are a greater percentage of failed marriages where people had cohabited or were in, quote and unquote, the long committed relationship involving sex before marriage. And it was quite, will I say, surprising to me, because it was actually not a research. I know I've read about research in Europe, research in the United States, I think one in California, where they took heard from couples, and they say the greater percentage of people who actually couples who cohabited before marriage, or those who were involved in, sexual relationship before that, their marriages fail more. And then the question is why? Now you begin to look at some issues. Now the first of it, and I think, which is where people most times do not pay attention, once there's sex involved in a relationship, right, there's a problem. Now, sex is meant to seal a relationship. In every custom of the world and in every religion of the world, there's no marriage until there's sex. So even if couples go to the mosque and the marriage is contracted in the mosque, or you go to the registry, it's contracted in the registry, or even in the church, and there's no sex after, is a ground, there's no consummation, which is sex. There's a ground to dissolve such marriage. Now the question is, why is that the case for all these? All customs you can think about. The reason is very simple. Sex is meant to seal a marriage. It's just like an envelope. If you open up an envelope and you seal it, it's closed, right? It's meant to seal the marriage. Now, when people go into sexual relationship before, actual marriage. Now, the way I've looked at it, and these things are also psychological, is the fact that ideally before going to relationship, you're supposed to know yourself, study yourselves. Now, the study, I compare it to cleaning up the surface before sealing. Now, before cleaning up the period of courtship, going out, you're supposed to clean the surface, learn yourselves, right? Now, the moment there's sex, what you've done is to seal the envelope without really cleaning the surface. Now, what happens? It will seal. But it's just a matter of time. Those debts you failed to remove will come up, and the envelope will, it will pull. It's just a matter of time. Now, how does it impact, relationship? Now, where couples or, partners are involved in sex before marriage, now the chances that a lot of things are taken for granted. It impacts communication. Some things which you ordinarily would pay attention to, looks, you want to make excuse for it, right? And then those things will definitely come up one day. By the time they come in, what is actually, you begin to make excuses for things which you shouldn't make excuse for. So the effects, again, these things are researchers have shown that when people now come in, now you begin to wonder, but this person had this quality before now. It's just that you didn't pay attention. You've sealed what shouldn't be sealed. So it definitely will impact communication because you no longer see what you're supposed to see. The things you should speak out about, you no longer talk about them because you've taken them for granted. So there are researches to show, I'm not aware of anyone done in Nigeria, but I'm sure it wouldn't be different. So in terms of being able to deal with themselves after, issues around communication, also issues around, because one of the points which I had raised initially is the fact that people go into cohabitation because you want to learn yourself. So I meet A, we stay together. It doesn't work out. She works. I meet B. It doesn't work out. Work. C. At the end of the day, you've had experience of 5-6 persons. A whole lot of things come to play. It's going to affect your being able to deal with others because there's that. We are human beings. We keep comparing in every sense, including the way the person cooks, the way the person, puts the house in order. We are all wired differently. So I think give or take, I can't think of, I may be wrong, but I can't think of how it helps you better in your communication. Thank you.
Okay, so that was very elaborate. We have people who are courting each other, and okay, we cannot cohabit, right? But is it okay, in your opinion, for them to spend weekends together, trying to get to know each other, or just trying to build that companionship?
Spending weekends together, wow. That's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, relationship in the first place needs to be defined. And most cases, it takes discipline, a whole lot of discipline when it comes to that. So I won't advise spending weekends because while spending the weekend, you might agree to, okay, there's not going to be any premarital sex, keeping yourself until marriage. But it's not funny. The temptations. The temptation could come from many of the partners, and not giving in might it takes a whole lot of discipline at that moment. So I will not suggest, I will not give in for weekends. Possibly you could spend beautiful time together from you have during the day till maybe late in the evening you leave, and because spending the weekends together gives room for a whole lot
of other things that could arise. All right, thank you. So it's time for us to find out more about our faith. So over to you, Jeff.
Hi Saints, welcome to a beautiful episode of Know Your Faith. I'm your favorite e-catechist, Jeffrey. Today we will be discussing who is an archbishop. Now let's get right into it. An archbishop is a bishop of higher rank who oversees an archdiocese, which is a primary diocese within an ecclesiastical province or territory. Now the term archbishop signifies that this particular bishop has authority over other bishops in his province, making him a pivotal figure in the church's hierarchy. Here are 5 responsibilities of an archbishop. 1. Overseeing an archdiocese. An archbishop governs an archdiocese, which is typically more significant in size or importance than a regular diocese. For example, the Archdiocese of Lagos is overseen by an archbishop who is responsible for the spiritual and administrative needs of this vast region of Lagos. 2. Supervisory role. Now, in addition to managing his archdiocese, an archbishop also has a supervisory role over the dioceses within his province. Now, this means he provides guidance, support, and oversight to the bishops of these dioceses, ensuring they align with the wider church's teachings and practices. 3. Representation. Archbishops often represent their archdiocese in national and international church meetings. They participate in conferences, synods, and councils, contributing to the global church's decisions and policies. 4. Liturgical duties. Like other bishops, an archbishop performs liturgical duties such as confirming Catholics, ordaining priests, and celebrating significant liturgical events. His presence and leadership at these ceremonies highlight his role as a key shepherd of the church. 5. Advisory role. Archbishops frequently serve as advisors to the Pope. Given their experience and importance of their role, their insights are invaluable in guiding the church's direction. Now, according to gcatholic.org, there are 9 archdioceses and 13 archbishops in Nigeria, 4 of whom are retired already. Senior men. They are 1. Archbishop Gabriel Leke Abegorin, Metropolitan Archbishop of Ibadan. 2. Archbishop Augustine Obiora Akobeze, Metropolitan Archbishop of Benin City. 3. Archbishop Matthew Ishaya Audu. 3. Archbishop Matthew Ishaya Audu, Metropolitan Archbishop of Jos. 4. Archbishop Richard Anthony Bok, Metropolitan Archbishop Emeritus of Benin City. 5. Archbishop Patrick Ebosele Ekpu, Metropolitan Archbishop Emeritus of Benin City. 6. Archbishop Joseph Effiong Ekoem, Metropolitan Archbishop of Calabar. 7. Archbishop Felix Alaba Adeosin Job, Metropolitan Archbishop Emeritus of Ibadan. 7. Archbishop Ignatius Ayao Kaigama, Metropolitan Archbishop of Abuja. 9. Archbishop Alfred Adewale Martins, Metropolitan Archbishop of Lagos. 10. Archbishop Matthew Manoso Ndagoso, Metropolitan Archbishop of Kaduna and Vice President of Catholic Bishops, Conference of Nigeria. 11. Archbishop Anthony John Valentine Obinna, Metropolitan Archbishop Emeritus of Owerri. 12. Archbishop Valerian Baduka Okeke, Metropolitan Archbishop of Onitsha. And 13. Archbishop Lucius Iwejuru Ugoji, Metropolitan Archbishop of Owerri, Nigeria, and President of Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria. So in essence, an archbishop is a high-ranking bishop entrusted with greater responsibilities, not top guy, basically. His role is crucial in maintaining the church's unity, providing leadership, and ensuring that the spiritual and administrative needs of his archdiocese and province are met, basically. So thanks for joining us today, guys. I hope this explanation has shed light on the significant role of an archbishop in the Catholic Church. Let us know in the comments the archbishop of your archdiocese or ecclesiastical province. Till next time, guys. Be bold, be Catholic.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for that interesting session. All right, let's go right into it. We have a lot to discuss. So you know how people first get married traditionally or legally, and sometimes we see cases of the church wedding being, delayed or postponed. Like there's a huge gap between when they do the trad and the church wedding. Do you think it is okay for couples to live together after being traditionally or legally wedded? I mean, after all, man and wife. But then again, they haven't gotten the blessings of the church. Okay,
thank you. I forgot to make mention of the cultural influence when it comes to causes of cohabitation. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I want to advise. I think one of the fears of people most times when it comes to getting married or going to the church for the sacrament of holy matrimony is the fear of the amount to spend.
Yeah.
Yes, we see it as one big thing.
And that's what
you want to get exactly. You want to get the wedding gown. You want to get the best bridesmaid. You want to get the best clothes, shoes, and so on.
And there's a lot of pressure.
Exactly.
Especially on social media.
On social media, you see this person's wedding and you be like, I want to be like, my wedding will be better than this. But I feel we need to leave that mentality, because if you can do your traditional marriage, I am so sure you can as well have your white wedding immediately.
Church wedding.
Because it's of late, I see people having both together, and I think it's a beautiful one. You can as well just have a Tuesday wedding. It must not be Saturday. Just go to the church with your spouse. The people that are most important has to do with the sponsors, the ring, and the priest.
Yeah.
These are the people important in the celebration and the couple as well. So I don't think we need to go about spending a whole lot or thinking of how to cook for the whole world just to have. So I think this is one of the reasons why most times it's kept long. So for this, I would advise you can have it immediately. Just talk to the priest, go to the parish secretary or I don't know, most parishes, go to your parish priest or go to the parish secretary and get the details on how it's being done.
And also to add to that, there is usually an advised timeline for couples who know that they want to get married. So once you know that this is your intention to marry this person, it's usually advised that you try to do this within a year. Now, it gives you enough time for marriage counseling, also gives you enough time for maybe a retreat if you want to go on a couple's retreat. It gives you enough time for planning so that in the end, you don't have a rushed wedding where there is little or no preparation. And then, of course, like you said, you can have your wedding maybe during the week or, you know, find a way to make sure that the trad and the church weddings are not they're not so separated from each other, so that there's no temptation to now want to go and live with your traditionally wedded husband. It's always good to, you know that you have done everything and you're good to go 100%. Okay,
if I may add on this same point of, I mean, nothing stops. The key thing in marriage is that it has to be done in the public, or at least where people can, access and something like, I mean, legally speaking. Now, I don't see why you can't have your traditional and the church at the same time. You can, once the priest is there. But beyond that, and it's a very interesting argument when I hear people say, I'm legally married, I've paid a bride price, and then why can't we live together? She's my wife. And then the question is, are you a Christian? Yes, I'm a Christian. And the way I look at Christianity, and I think that is what, as Catholics, at baptism is an initiation. Baptism is called sacrament of initiation. And in initiation, you are joining a group. Christianity is actually a cult. You know, when we say cult, it's not really something negative. Have to be bad, yes. Exactly. It's just people who have. Now, when you've joined, nobody forced you. And even if you were forced, at the time you're getting married, you're already an adult, right? At that stage, when you've joined a group or a cult now, the way cults operate, because cults is, I mean, group of people who have some things they share in common. Now you've joined. This is the rule of the game which you've joined. So you can't say I'm a member and at the same time you are working against. You know, the church is not saying necessarily, is not making it difficult for you. All the church is just saying the church which you belong to, this group which you belong to, needs to witness to what you are doing. So you cannot in one breath say I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, for instance, and at the same breath, I now want to decide, cherry pick the things I want to do and the things I don't want to do. So if you're a Catholic and this is what the church do, I mean, what the church has what the church teaches, you have to go by it. True. You know, and it's very easy, as I said. You can have, even your court marriage, these days you can pick up the form, bring it to the priest. So rather than going to the registry to do it separately and then once the church is a licensed place of worship, get your form from the registry, go to the church. The day your priest is wedding you, the forms get signed, the priest signs, you take it back to the registry. You can even do that the same day, and your traditional maybe a day before, even the same day. Everything can be done together. I actually had the same, kind of my court wedding and the church wedding was done on the same day. I went to the registry, picked the form, gave it to the church. So on the day, as the priest wedded us, the priest signed the form, we returned it back. And these things are possible, very much possible.
All right. Thank you very much. So now, just to wrap it up, we have people who are probably already cohabiting, but are looking for ways to, get out of it, or maybe they were not looking before, but after watching this episode, they're now thinking of getting out of it. What advice do you have for them?
Thank you. First, seek reconciliation. Yes, because it's a known fact that you've been committing sin. Yes. All those while. So you seek reconciliation by going to confession, and after seeking reconciliation, live chaste. When it comes to chastity, live chastely, like understanding that, in this case, this is a new life I'm about to enter. Just my fellow brother here who just said talked about joining the cult. He made mention of the cult, and in this case, you are getting into a vocation, the vocation of holy matrimony. So I think in this case, you have to come in, understand this is what I want to do, and most importantly, go for it. So that is it.
And for me, I would say there's nothing to do other than to step out. I mean, both of you have to go your ways, right? You have to go your ways. As is rightly said, go for confession, go your ways. I mean, there's no way to patch these things. I mean, there's no way to patch it. It's something about our life. It's about our spirituality and what we believe in. So if I actually think heaven is important to me as a Christian, I'm not sure there's any price that is too big. At least it's not, as the scripture said, some people have even suffered up to losing their life. The fact that you have to go your separate ways, I mean, is not a huge sacrifice, or it's not out of the way or extraordinary that you can't do for the sake of your faith and eternal life. So I think the way, go for confession, go your ways. You can still be friends, but you don't have to live together.
Yeah, and just to add, because it's not, I don't think that for all situations you should go your separate ways. You can also decide that, okay, let's do the right thing. Let's get married. So I think that it's good to also note that the church will not say that they will not wed you. What they need you to do is, like you said, embrace the sacrament of reconciliation, and then for a period of time actually live separately, so that you have that, you build that free will. You know, not that you're now being forced by virtue of you staying with that person. In your separate lives, you make that decision that you want to spend the rest of your lives together. You know, and you're very clear. So that's what the church wants, that freedom to enter into that sacrament of matrimony. And then, of course, if everything goes well, if you still decide that you want to get married, by all means do the right thing. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. It's been lovely speaking with you. And to my viewers out there, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, don't forget, now we're there for you. Use the comment section of our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you can get notified when we post any new video. Remember, the handle is at Dominican Media. We're also on social media at CFF on TV. Catch us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, anywhere that you want us to be. If you go to any social media and we're not there, put it in our comment section that we need to be on that social media platform, and we're going to be there. All right, my name is Marianne Ushi. I'm at _Marianne Ushi on Instagram. Until next time, guys, keep being saints in jeans and shirts. Bye.